Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Game Club. I'm your host, Graham, and I'm joined by my fine compatriots here. We've got Jake.
Hello.
And George.
Hey guys, how's it
All
going?
right. You may have noticed it's probably been a little bit of a time since we've done a general discussion. In fact, so long I've even grown a lot of facial hair. Wow. And Jake, you lost your facial hair. It's strange how time works. Anyways,
You guys swapped.
indeed, yeah, right.
Yeah, I shaved mine off and mailed it to him.
Okay, perfect.
He was complaining about having such a baby face, so
I would never.
Thought I would share my gift
that
of crappy facial hair with you.
that aside, we are doing some changes on the Game Club, and this is going to be our general roster of people going forward. Because of our aspirations for the channel podcast thing, for the Game Club in general, we'd like to start moving it forward as regular content, doing more. We want to kind of bring the Game Club to its full heights. And so we talked with the other members and their availability and what their plans were. And so we've decided that for now, at least, and for the foreseeable future, we're going to have the three of us doing the Game Club. We're going to have 1 week will be our general discussion. The next week will be it used to be monthly discussions, but we're now going to do it bi-weekly. So we'll have 1 month general, 1 month game.
Bi-monthly. Yes, not bi-weekly, bi-monthly.
Bi-weekly is every 2 weeks, is it not?
Yeah, bi-weekly is every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I thought it's twice a week. Okay, I guess I'm wrong and obviously don't know. But you're right, bi-weekly.
Totally fine. Bi-weekly, so we'll have, general discussion followed by game discussion. That'll give everyone about 2 weeks, ourselves and, of course, yourselves, if you're joining in playing the game for that bi-week. Then you'll be able to play that too. We are still going to stick to our general restriction of games being around 10 hours. That'll help us pick, some interesting picks. And maybe in the future, as our schedules change, then maybe we'll change some of those rules. But for now, that's generally been working, and so we're going to stick to that. Is there anything else I've missed? I think that kind of covers it.
Doing some Let's Play stuff.
Yeah, so we've been doing some Let's Play stuff.
Going to be coming out down the road, not quite immediately.
Yeah, at some point in the future, we're kind of experimenting with different content types to see kind of what works for our group and what the audience likes, and so we'll be doing that. No word on when that'll come out exactly, but we are working on some stuff in the background. But for now, of course, our primary focus is going to be on the podcast discussions that we have, because that's really going to be our bread and butter, an in-depth conversation on the industry and on the game that we're playing and stuff like that. So I just gotta say, I'm happy to really be back. I'm really excited to pump out some games bi-weekly and have some good discussions. So,
Same.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Very much so. So, it's been a while since we've had a discussion episode. It's been a little while because our schedules have been so busy. Why don't we just kind of touch base with what's been going on in our lives, and then we'll kind of jump into like game discussions. For me, I guess I can start. I started going to a Japanese language school, so my schedule has just absolutely taken shots. I used to work part-time only and had all the free time in the world. Now, game club time is hard to come by, so that's one of the reasons why we've had so many mix-ups with our scheduling and releasing episodes. So it's been busy, but having a lot of fun, and I've got just enough time to get episodes out and record and stuff like that. So yeah. What about you guys?
Yeah.
Anything exciting happening in the interim?
I quit my job to become a Mr. Clean impersonator.
I see that. How's that going for you?
And it's actually, contrary to popular belief, it's a pretty dirty job. Being Mr.
Isn't
Clean.
I can imagine if you're cleaning everything, you would get.
There's a lot of background stuff that goes into that.
A lot of competition, backbiting, and gossip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amongst Mr. Clean up and comers, is that what it is?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well,
The Mr. Clean Guild. Just
Yeah, nothing's been going on with me. I'm boring.
That's life. Life's
I
pretty
did take a
generally.
trip. I did take a trip recently, actually.
Oh yeah.
First trip I've taken in a while. Just took a few days off of work and
Where'd
went
you go?
to Austin, Texas, and hung
Ooh.
out with some fine people there, and went
Nice.
to a state park called Enchanted Rock State Park there,
Hmm.
and it's really cool. Just giant rocks that you can walk around and um, climb upon and do all that stuff. So
On
that's the only
paper,
exciting thing I've done.
well, on paper, giant rocks sounds like the most boring thing ever. But when you go and check out giant rocks, it's actually like really cool. It's like, whoa, these are
Yeah,
giant
it's
rocks.
they're like so big
Right.
that it's kind of mind-boggling. And then climbing up on them and like looking around and being like, "Wow, I'm on a giant rock." I mean, I guess it's just like a bare mountain, but it's I don't know.
Yeah, something kind of cool
There's a
about it.
reason why it's called Enchanted Rock because
Right.
it
I'm gonna
looks
look this
it
up.
looks
Enchanted
cool.
Rock.
It's kind of like you're on the moon or something when you're on the top of it.
Dang. They is that well no, I'm thinking of another place where they shoot like movies and stuff. I think that's like
It
Utah's
might
got
shoot
a place
movies
like
there.
that. It's possible.
Somebody's probably shot something there.
Nice.
But yeah, other than that I just been working and barely fitting in games, so I'm but now it's getting colder, so I'm ready to have all the excuses in the world to stay inside and
Play some
play video
games.
games rather than go do anything that isn't
Nice.
necessary.
Oh,
Not a fan of the cold.
yeah,
As
I
you
feel
see,
ya.
I have no hair on my face or my head,
You're gonna
so
be very susceptible to cold now.
I was actually looking for a beanie to put on before we started this because my head is actually cold right now inside my house,
Oh my gosh.
and I couldn't find my. I think I left them all in my vehicle, so
Well,
Uh,
all
cold
right.
head.
Well, George, how about you?
well, I mean, just busy as always, I guess. I don't know. I guess we had an episode where I'm in this house right now already come out, but for since our last kind of um general discussion episode, I've moved here. We're getting our house built, and so we're waiting for that, and so we're kind of staying at it an in between. Well, I guess not an in between house because there's an actual thing that's called an in between house, but for
Okay.
us, it's like an in between house while we're waiting for
It's a
that to be built, and I can't
metaphorical
wait.
in between house.
Yes, yeah. But no, just work and have a kid. I'm one of the only now with Gareth
Yeah,
kind of taking a backseat in the game club. I'm the only one
true.
left with a kid.
That's
So
true.
that always keeps you busy, man. It's
No longer the
can't
dad club.
yes, yeah,
I
and you
mean, I
can
might have
never
some. I might have some kids out there I don't know about. But
there you go.
All right.
But yeah, so just keeping at it. I'm excited to see what the future brings here for the game club for us, and
Yeah.
just excited to get back in the swing of things.
Nice. All right. Well, yeah. So hopefully all the viewers are doing well. Things around the world seem to be hopefully quieting down a little bit. So here we are, talking about video games. And
About video
speaking
games.
about video games, we have to talk about the most exciting video game news. We're just gonna launch this out to the biggest thing
Right
that
in
we
the
could.
big thing.
We're gonna get right into the big thing because I can't wait to
boy.
talk about this. Elden Ring.
I knew it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so as everyone who has watched this channel previously, and all of my friends and everyone I talk to, even remotely about video games, knows Dark Souls is my favorite video game of all time. I love From Software. I love the Souls series, the Soulsborne series of games. I've played them all. I beat them all several times. I love them to death. They're absolutely amazing. And so when Elden Ring was announced, I was excited. But I always like to, as I've gotten older, I like to temper my expectations for stuff, not let myself get too hyped, because it's really sucks waiting for stuff when you're really hyped. It feels like it takes longer. So I just like to push it to the back of my head. And so I was like, okay, Elden Ring's going to be this open world thing, Souls thing. I don't know how it's really going to turn out. I'm a little skeptical. I trust From Software to make a good game, but could they really make it that good? So it
And
wasn't.
then we saw.
Yeah, and then we saw this just recently they released a gameplay preview where they did like a very, very guided sections of showing like what the game is. Like what is the
Mhm.
freaking Elden Ring, because we haven't even seen any gameplay. So, I mean, the most accurate, this is like cliche kind of thing to say, but the most accurate way to describe it is if you took Breath of the Wild and Dark Souls and smushed them together, and that's basically Elden Ring. And I know there's been other open worlds before. Yes, I know. It's saying Breath of the Wild as like open world. I get it. There's been open worlds before Breath of the Wild and yada yada. But it does feel a lot like they looked at Breath of the Wild and they went, "Hey, we could do that." And
Mhm.
I don't know. There's maybe underlying things that bring more of a make it more reminiscent, but man, watching that 20-minute preview, just I went from like low hype to, oh my gosh, get this on my computer right now. I need to play this right now. So it's everything I hoped and everything I dreamed it could be. This is like my dream video game, basically. Like this is, I can't wait. I can't wait.
It looks really good. It
Yeah.
looks really good. And like one thing that that well, I guess it's just to pick up a random thing that I really like was the crafting stuff. In Breath of the Wild, since we're comparing it to that, and I think it's a fair comparison. Um, I always ended up with so many things. Like
Right.
like for the beginning, you kind of experiment a little bit with the recipes and stuff, but then you figure out what makes like the best thing, and then you just make that over and over and over, and then the rest of the items just kind of remain unused. But I got the feeling, even though they didn't really show it, I kind of got the feeling that you're going to be forced to use the stuff that's in your inventory and like really kind of think about it and actually put everything to good use. I don't know. I really like it when games do that, when they kind of force you to use the stuff, because I'm a hoarder in like almost
Right.
every game. So when I'm forced to actually use the stuff that's in my inventory, I like that, and I got that impression from this, and so it's one of the things that really excited me.
Yeah, it's weird. Like when I looked at the crafting stuff and they were like, "Oh, we'll craft this," and I was like, "Crafting in Dark Souls, this is weird." Like, what the heck? So I hope
Yeah.
it comes out. I hope it works out. I mean, I like that it's just a menu and you quickly go in and you make your stuff and then that's that.
Hmm.
With how scant items are usually around in Dark Souls games, it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic works and if they change how freely or unfreely they give certain things. So I'm just really interested to see if there's like in Dark Souls, like items come off of like bodies and stuff or like chests.
Hmm.
So I wonder if they'll have any type of like foliage. Like in Monster Hunter, you get like foliage and stuff, and you harvest things. I wonder if they'll have any aspects like that. I'd imagine not, because they didn't show anything off like that in the gameplay preview. So it'll be interesting to see how scant resources
Yeah.
come about.
And the enemies that they showed look
Oh
awesome.
man, so cool.
They look awesome. And the what's that boss? They show a boss at the end. They call him like the God of
The
Gold. What was his
golden, it
name?
was a demigod guy, the
Yeah.
Lord of Golden.
Yeah, and he's got like a bunch of arms, but they're like smaller arms. They're not like
Right.
full length arms. And
They're
then he's
little.
got like the two giant ones, and yeah,
So cool.
it
Yeah,
looks good,
I
man.
can't wait. And the magic looks so incredible. Oh my gosh. They took the
Yes.
magic and just like dialed it up to 11. My gosh.
Yeah. Yep.
So
And you
cool.
can sneak by things
Yeah,
like by like
sneaking and stuff.
crouching. Yeah.
Dude, that monster they showed in the forest, or they're like, "Oh, this monster's really strong. We're gonna sneak by." I was like, "Okay, these guys are horrifying. They've got like tentacle
Yeah.
faces and stuff.
Yeah.
Yikes! Absolutely
Yep.
terrifying." So, very excited for Elden Ring. Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
I'm going to be taking time off of work. I'm going to take off of time of everything I possibly can, and I'm just going to binge that game for like as long as possible. Can't wait.
It's yeah. It's gonna be a game that people talk about for a long time, I feel.
I think
So
so.
we'll have to see. We'll have to see. All this in speculation, obviously, but I
Of
mean,
course.
from the looks of
If
it,
I was
like
a
I
betting
got hyped as
man,
well. Yes. Yep.
From Software
Exactly.
never misses. Even with the game that is, you could argue, is the most of a miss, Dark Souls 2, that game is still not bad. it's a fine game. So
Yeah.
Jake, you got to see some of that Elden Ring footage.
Yeah, I didn't finish it all the way. I got to like the part where they were going into a dungeon, but yeah, so I'm just as infatuated with everything that From does nowadays, as pretty much everybody else in gaming, but they've never been my favorite games. Like I really like them, but I just fall off of playing. Like I can never finish one, and part of that is just my own problem of like every time I go back to it after a break, I feel like I have to start over
Ah,
because I'm very particular about what I was doing with my build or what I wanted to accomplish and where
right.
I was. And even though the Dark Souls game I played the most is 3, and it's pretty linear,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not really like I don't feel like you can really get too lost in it, but I would still just be like, I don't remember this area and I don't remember where I came from before and what is going on. But that's kind of like an overall thing in Dark Souls. I never know what's going on. I'm just smashing through enemies and going on. But
I think Dark Souls 3 is particularly bad for that. Dark Souls 3 is a great game, um, but it definitely there's some like design problems like that bring on that feeling especially more than I think even the other two did.
yeah.
So
But anyway, for those reasons and just like I don't know, getting bored of what I was doing with the combat or whatever, I've just never really finished one, and I've never been super into the lore. Um, it's one of the coolest settings. Like, I mean, super dark fantasy.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think anybody's pulled off dark fantasy. Um, like high, it's like high dark fantasy. I don't
Yeah,
know
it
if
is a
that's a
little bit like
thing, but it's like way taken to the highest you could take it to, keeping it like very
it's
grounded
I wouldn't
and
say it's
fantastical and gritty.
yeah, I would say it's more like you're saying gritty fantasy. I wouldn't say it's quite high fantasy. It's almost like medium low fantasy, but it's very gritty. It's like depressing fantasy, if we could
Yeah.
say it that way. Cuz like nothing is too over the top. Like the Elden Ring magic is like the most over the top magical effects I've ever seen in a Dark Souls series, right? So if I thought of like have you played Dragon's Dogma? Or
No.
have you seen the magic from Dragon's Dogma? That's like crazy high fantasy stuff. That's like fire and ice and all sorts of stuff all happening, and it's like they're very liberal with like the magic use and stuff like that. Where I think Dark Souls is like more, I don't know, subdued a little bit in that aspect. I mean, Elden Ring is certainly different from that, but yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
well,
great thing about fantasy, though.
yeah,
It's got such a gigantic breadth of
yeah, it's got such a
things that
big
you can
range,
fit within
right?
it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I encourage you to go play all of the Souls games before Elden Ring comes out because once Elden Ring comes out, it's gonna probably be hard to go back.
It's not gonna happen for me.
No, you
I've
don't think
played those
so?
games as much. No, I've played them as much as I can stand to play them, I think. And that's why I'm really like I'm excited to I'm obviously gonna buy Elden Ring and I'm gonna play it. And it's
Right.
gonna be good. But I have a feeling that it's probably gonna bounce off of me just like every other one. And I hope that I'm not right,
Right. Well,
but
I hope so as well.
and I think the thing that is going to change that will be how they do implement the open world and what the story um and just the world entails, like if it's enticing enough for me to actually explore, because that's another thing about like 3 again, that the one I've played the most of. I've only ever dabbled in the others a little bit, but I never what felt like enticed to actually explore the world. As cool as the setting is,
Right.
it just felt too much like a game. Like I was in a game and everything was like it was like a fun house of
Yeah.
things that were like, oh, what's around the next corner? It's cool. And here's like some weird enemies and stuff, but it never I don't know. It does. I like worlds that feel lived in,
Yeah,
and
you're describing exactly Dark Souls 3. That's 100% the world design problem with Dark Souls 3. Yeah.
yeah. So
I
it's like it's an awesome setting, and it does feel like it exists, but there's something like that I can't tangibly tie myself through the character to the world.
right.
And if they can unlock that in Elden Ring, I think it will really open it up for me because that's just a big problem I've had with the Dark Souls series, at least 3
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah, I was actually it's funny that you mentioned that because I was actually having this conversation with another friend of mine about Dark Souls 3. Um and I actually picked up a couple maybe not a couple, but maybe 3 4 weeks ago I sat down and started playing some Dark Souls 3, and that's 100% I was reminded about all those things. Dark Souls 3, when it comes to a cohesive world, is just the worst. They
Hmm.
lean too heavily on the fast travel, and it doesn't create like a cohesive world. I never once got that feeling like I was in this Dark Souls 3 world. I think it's Dark Souls 3 is a better game overall than Dark Souls 2, but even Dark Souls 2 did a better world thing than Dark Souls 3 did. So yeah, that feeling of not being able to like really want to explore. It's like, well, because there's really in Dark Souls 3, there's not a lot of places to go explore. It's just you go for
Interesting.
like a level selector and you select the level. Essentially, is like what a lot of Dark Souls 3 feels like. Um, and I
Oh,
think
is there act like is there? I haven't never played Dark Souls 3,
you'll
so there actually is a level selector.
kind of it's like a soft it's
Interesting.
like as close to a level selector as you can get with the Dark Souls series.
Yeah, I
And
mean, basically, I mean, that's what I felt like.
yeah,
Is it's just here's the levels,
yeah,
and
Hmm.
you just kind of, I mean, and you don't even
Interesting.
really have much of a need to go back to them
yeah,
ever. So it's like once you beat them, it's just if you want to go back and look for stuff, um,
you
I don't know.
can,
It,
I
it kind of
guess.
it, it kind of feels very separated from
Yeah,
the rest of your journey. It kind of feels like, oh, I'm loading up level 2, 3 again. I already know everything about this, and
right. I've
just
already
gonna run
explored
Interesting.
through it
this.
Hmm.
again.
Yeah.
So
100%. So I was talking with my friend of like why, because I had just realized at that time where I picked it up again, I was like, man, this game doesn't feel very sticky, right? Like the game doesn't stick me and like keep me in. Like it's easy for me to stop playing and not come back. Like I enjoy myself when I'm playing, but I just don't. I'm not enthralled with it, and that's the biggest reason for me is the world doesn't suck you in. And so when it was new and I was playing it for the first maybe second time, I had a blast because it was all new and interesting, and I just wanted to see what was next. But after that, it's just like going back is like okay, it's just not as interesting. So that's probably the one I have the least playtime with. I even played Dark Souls 2
Hmm.
more than Dark Souls 3. But I think they're all great games. It's just Dark Souls 1, like you could even just play only Dark Souls 1 because really Dark Souls 1 is the epitome of what Dark Souls should really be. I think the only other game that gets close to that, other than like Demon Souls, but even Demon Souls to a degree, they do the world thing, but it's broken up into like big worlds, right? Whereas Dark Souls 3 is like levels. It's like here's a bunch of levels. Um, and I think so. What I was saying is the other one is Bloodborne. I think Bloodborne does a really, really good job of hearkening to the kind of world that Dark Souls 1 did. And so when I see Elden Ring, this just like is like everything I liked about Dark Souls 1 amplified by like a million. Like it's this huge, awesome open world. Um, I love that the world is open, but the one thing I did like about Dark Souls 1 is it did feel like a little cramped and like I was going around this like 3D maze that's all up and down. So I hope that there are some areas. I hope it's not all like super open spacious. Maybe the dungeons will be like that, but I would like to have like towns and stuff. And I guess the castle, the storm castle that they showed near the end was kind of similar to that. So we'll have to see. But yeah, there's definitely that's why Dark Souls 1 has persisted as my favorite game despite 2 and 3 coming out and being excellent games. It's just Dark Souls 1 does something special that the other two really don't. So I hope, Elden Ring and on, they really focus on that and kind of harken back to that. So we'll have to see.
yeah, I did want to touch on the fact that I think that just and we all like open world games to a certain degree, different ones, different things about them, but um I think going open world is a gamble
Yeah.
for sure with any series um in general, because it's like if you dilute your stuff, or if it like takes away from what they've been good at in the past, you know, is it going to be worth it?
Right.
So finding that balance of like, is it just going to be a big open space and that basically takes you to these corners of the earth or the map that are they're like the old sections of the game? Like, if it's just a spot that has like a few NPCs that you talk to once or twice and um, don't get much out of besides just going around in the world and even avoiding other encounters just to get to the next spot.
Right.
But if they make that stuff good enough, and see, I don't know, like I mean, you get quests and stuff in Dark Souls games, right? But they're not like, it's not like other games really. You kind of have to like dig deep for that stuff, right?
It's kind of, yeah, you get like, I
There's
would say soft quests.
yeah, they're like kind of unspoken quest lines. Like if you do this
Right.
thing here and then go talk to this person or whatever, or if you kill this person and you get this item and do all
Right.
this.
So like, if, for instance, George was just playing Dark Souls and he met a guy who was trapped in a room. Right. So like the soft quest is like figure out how to get the guy out of the room. Now George already had the key to open the door, but yeah, like that is like a soft quest, and
Yeah.
stuff like
And
that.
like
will
there's the
come up.
bells too when it like they
True. Right.
tell you to do the bells. That's
That's like
pretty
So I
much
feel
a
like that kind
quest.
of
Yeah.
that kind of stuff works in what you're describing as, the world of Dark Souls 1, where it's more cramped and there's they have better ways to funnel you around that stuff and
Right.
make it like seem like a memorable thing that happens in the world. But when you open the world up a lot, I feel like that's definitely harder. And I'm interested to see what they actually do with, other than just like, here, go to this place and kill this boss. What other things are we going to be doing? Like you
Right.
said, the crafting. I don't think the crafting. I'm with you. I don't think the crafting is going to be so deep, because every item needs to be have weight to it.
Right.
Like George said, he hopes that there's not like 50 different things that he's carrying that he never uses. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like you could still not. I played a lot of Dark Souls games and never used any of the items.
Right.
But if it is more open world and you are crafting things and it's super hard, or it just so happens you want to play this way, I feel like if they have more weight to them, the things you can do with them are more important, like bigger and more
Right.
flashy or something, then maybe
Right.
the crafting will be like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just really, I'm more curious about what they do than actually like excited to play the game. If
Sure.
that makes any sense.
Yeah, you're
Because-
cautiously optimistic, it sounds like, right? Which makes sense. Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat. The things that like really have gotten me excited though is like I had the same kind of questions of you, as like how are they going to go and really put those things forward into the world, is like they have the bonfires, which aren't really bonfires anymore. They're like little light things. And they have like guiding lights, right? So they kind of like will guide you to an objective or something. Now, whether that's like main quest only, or if it's going to be like whatever's closest as a side objective, or maybe each bonfire has its own like objectives they'll point you to, I don't know. But that's like one thing. There's also like the living world stuff where like there's that caravan that's like carrying some treasure or something. And then there's like they've showed like a turtle thing that has like a bell on its like stomach that's like walking around the world. So I think, I mean, they haven't showed too much, and they probably want to keep a lot of things secret because the world's going to be an interesting and organic place to explore. But I would imagine that the whole world is filled up with these like organic events that you can like come across, right? Is what I would hope. And then the other thing is like, you have like points of interest, which like the big castle and stuff like that. And then you have like smaller hidden points of interest, which are like the dungeons, the smaller like little catacombs and stuff like that. So between all of that stuff and how long the game's been in development, I personally feel like they're probably going to have enough stuff, but I definitely understand where you're coming from of like, are they going to be able to subtly move people around to keep things interesting? And is the world going to be interesting enough?
Well,
That's
not only, and yeah, that and being able to build you interacting with it, and the fact that it is this giant open world that's like existing and has all these routines now. Because that's another thing about Dark Souls is like it does get you really invested in the world when you find these things, but also it's kind of static. Like it's waiting for you,
right.
and
Mhm.
this world needs to not be waiting for you in
Right.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So you know,
How's that going to work?
yeah, how's that going to work
Yeah.
with the way they've done it before? And
Yeah.
I'm excited. I mean, I think that if they do get it right, they're going to hit it out of the park, of course. So like I said, I have no doubts that it's going to be good. I'm just very curious as to what it is that they're going like. Is it just going to be a ton of those kinds of things where you
Right.
walk up on them one time and you find it the one spot that it's in, and you get a little thing and go on, and if you kill this caravan, like, is it just going to respawn again later, and then you don't ever want to kill it again because it's just a fight that you don't really need to do that gives you like some souls or something? Or is it going to be worth, like, is it going to open something up to do,
I think it will.
where,
I think those will be one-off things, right? Like I think you see this like turtle with the bell, and you can like kill it somehow. Then it's like that's gone, right? Like, and I think the
Yeah.
caravan. Once you loot that caravan, that's like the only caravan. Maybe there's like some
Yeah.
different caravans, but like I think it'll be a permanent change. The thing that you have made me think of is that stuff scheduled like for a day cycle, is like a 24-hour cycle, or is this caravan like actually starting somewhere and going somewhere? And
yeah,
then if
like
you
going to actually deliver
right,
it,
like
and
if you don't
can you wait for different things to happen to make
right, yeah, so
different
like
storylines break
right, so
apart,
like if like the caravan, like let's say at the beginning of the game, the caravan's going somewhere, and if you don't in like 7 in-game days stop the caravan, then it will go somewhere and some boss will get a power up because he gets the item that he wanted that's on the caravan or something. Or maybe that item, is only available
Mm.
for a certain amount of time. Maybe it's like, okay, so there's like a maiden and she's like one of her eyes is closed, right? And so everyone's like, "Oh, she doesn't have one eye." It's like, "Okay, what if her eye," and obviously we have no idea, but what if her eye is in the caravan and they're going to like take it somewhere to destroy it? And so like you have a X period amount of time to get the eye to then deliver it to her, and like that's the only way you like it's like time sensitive. I
Mhm.
don't know. That's a good question.
And stuff like if you don't even touch the caravan, like will you meet somebody eventually who's like, hey, I need this caravan taken out and here's why. And then you meet
Right.
another person who's like, I need you to like guard this caravan and get it, and here's why. And what do those consequences mean for the world?
Right.
Because that, again, that's what's going to be most exciting to me, is what the consequences are for the world. If it's just a bunch of one-off like weird quest lines that and things you run across that's mainly focused around engaging you with combat and just giving you a really cool experience in that one moment, if it doesn't have lasting effects and build the world in an interesting way and have consequences, then it's not going to be as interesting to me, or any more interesting than a regular Dark
Sure.
Souls game.
That makes
So,
sense. Yeah, I agree with that. And maybe, well, personally for me, if it didn't go that far, it would still be fine for me personally. However, that would be something I would definitely expect from like a Elden Ring 2, which is
yeah, I was
like,
gonna say this is their first outing into an
right,
open world, so I would be willing to give them a benefit of the doubt as well.
right, yeah, like maybe
As long as it has no bugs and runs fine.
yeah, I just had a vision of like, okay, maybe they take this like item in the caravan to this castle, and then like
We're stuck on this caravan.
I'm really stuck in this caravan. It's so cool. My brain is just like exploding with possibilities. So like, okay, imagine you're talking about world altering things. So you know how like there's that one scene where there's like the valley and there's a castle in the middle, right? It's like really, really far in the distance. What if the caravan takes this item to the castle? Something terrible happens with the item and a black hole appears and like sucks up the castle, and the castle's like deleted. It's just gone now. And there's like a black hole in its like place. Obviously not. But cool things like that would be pretty sick. It actually reminds me of Outer Wilds. Have you played Outer Wilds? Either of
No,
you?
it's pretty high on my list of
You,
things to play.
it's like
Same.
if you took that concept that you're talking about and just like brought it to the extreme, that's Outer Wilds. You should really
Mhm.
play it if that's the kind of thing you
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
How
It's
long is it?
Oh, it maybe
depends on how
it's
long it takes you.
it's yeah, it depends, but I think there is a general curve. I think it's around 10 hours.
I was
I
gonna
was gonna
say I think
say
it's
because
somewhere between 15 and 20.
okay, because it might be a possible game to choose sometime
Oh,
in
I
the
15
really
future.
I
15ish
really want to.
hours.
Yeah, 15 to
15
20.
ish.
I wanted, yeah, Gareth had mentioned possibly choosing it
Yeah,
like when we
I
first
I
started up,
played
and
maybe
I've heard nothing but good things. It's one of those that's like I already knew I was gonna play it, and I've just been waiting for the right time because I'm also really about timing when I play certain games, especially ones I have high expectations for. Like I have to wait until I'm in
the
the
mood.
right mood.
Yeah.
And since this is not like it's not an Elden Ring, so I don't have the need to play it like right when it comes out to
Right.
experience it with everybody. I'm kind of like I'll just play it one on my own time,
Mm-hmm.
experience it, and so the only thing I know about it is that it's like a run based puzzle game where you kind of have to like figure out this world, and but you like keep resetting and finding out different things about the world.
It's so cool. I played about halfway through it. It's honestly so cool. I was like, I don't know. It's games like that where I take a step back and I go, video games are the best. Like,
Yeah,
video games
and
are
I just
so
had a
cool.
conversation with like two people that I just met, and it didn't take us but like 10 minutes of talking about games. And I mean, we all seemed about the same level of gaming. We're not like gaming 200 hours a
Sure.
week or anything. We're just like
You're in the depth.
as we're adults casually, playing at this point. But they were all like, dude, yeah, Outer Wilds is like the best game that I've ever played,
It's incredible. It's
at least
incredible.
recently.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
So,
pretty nuts. Well, so I hope
Well, maybe
Elden
we
Ring
should pick it.
maybe. So I hope Elden Ring, even if it doesn't have that kind of level, which I don't expect. I mean, Elder Wilds is literally that's the whole game, right? Like Elden Ring has all this other stuff, so I don't expect it to be
yeah.
that depth. But it would be cool for a sequel. The one thing that I was thinking of though is the difficulty of bringing your game. Okay, so like Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3. There are some pretty big differences between the structure of those games, but they're all generally like, okay, they're linear general experiences, with some like delinear or non-linear elements throughout. So it doesn't feel super linear, because there's lots and lots of like choice of where to go. But could they release a Dark Souls 4 after Elden Ring? Like, can you go back?
Hmm.
Would people accept going back to the previous Dark Souls formula after having... Does all future games need to be Elden Ring open world?
I guess it depends how good Elden Ring is.
I
If it's
guess.
not
Like,
very good,
let's
people
assume...
would be like, "Let's go back."
Yeah.
I think that
Let's assume
I
it's
think that
amazing.
them coming out with Elden Ring, like not calling it Dark Souls, obliteration or whatever, giving
Right.
it some weird name and saying like, hey, this is like
This is our open world series.
yeah, like I feel like they're like closing the book on Dark Souls. Obviously, like the legacy of the gameplay and the mechanics and just
Right.
like their whole thing is going to live on through. I mean, they've been doing that since Kingsfield.
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know so that's not going anywhere, but I feel like they're definitely closing the book on Dark Souls as it is. And
I
I
hope
mean, it doesn't
so.
matter. It's kind of semantics, like whatever. It's called Elden Ring now, but I think that you would need to just keep going with that, and then
Yeah.
if they decide to go back to something that's more linear, more pared down, and concentrate on different things, I think they would probably want to come up with something new, kind of like Bloodborne or something.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I hope as much as I love the Dark Souls series, I do hope they kind of bookend. Like, I feel like Dark Souls 3 is kind of like a good place to stop with the Dark Souls series. I think, yeah, like that's true. Elden Ring can kind of be their open world stuff. I really want another Bloodborne. Like, everybody wants another Bloodborne. Bloodborne 2.
I'm sure that will happen.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll happen at some point, and that will also be linear, harkening onto their older stuff. So maybe there is room for both. I'm very interested to see. I'm sure Elden Ring will be an absolute hit, but I'm interested to see what From is going to do going forward. Maybe they'll start making Kingsfield. It'll be like Kingsfield 2023.
They'll go back
Right?
to first person.
Oh man, you imagine? Yeah, that'd be crazy. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm interested to see what From does. There's such a great studio, and the guy who's leading is just absolute superstar. So very excited, very very excited.
Yeah.
You know what I'm not super excited about is the fact that Final Fantasy Endwalker was delayed.
Maybe it wasn't that much though, right? It was only like 2 weeks.
Only 2 weeks, yeah. It was a 2 week delay.
Could have been worse.
Could have been
Could have
worse.
been worse.
Not super happy about it, but it is what it is, right? If they need 2 extra weeks, Yoshi P, the guy who's Yoshida, he's just the best. He's such a great developer, producer. So
He's got the passion.
yeah, he's so
He's got the
passionate,
passion.
and he was very like to the point of tears when he made the announcement. He was like to the point of tears about letting people down. And it's pretty big disappointment. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very excited for Endwalker, but it if it has to be, then it has to be. As long as it's not at the same time or even remotely close to Elden Ring, then that's totally fine. So yeah, so I'm excited, still excited for Endwalker to come. It's almost like all these games that I'm excited for keep getting closer to each other, and I'm just like, whoa,
Yeah,
chill.
because Monster Hunter Rise is coming to PC
Yeah.
January 20 something
Is it January? Yeah. Oh, jeez.
or February something. Hold on, let me see.
Please be February, because did they announce it or delay it? Rise PC.
Yeah, I mean, look at the March 26th. Ah, okay. Oh no.
No, January 12th.
January 12th. Yeah,
Yikes.
2022.
So I have like a
it's-
month. I've got like a month to absolutely blow through an insane amount of Final Fantasy content, and then prepare myself for Rise. Great.
And then as soon as Rise, you're done with
As
that,
soon as
then
I'm
it'll
done
And
with
then a
be
month until Elden Ring.
Oh my
Elden
gosh.
Ring.
And then they're gonna announce like Dragon's Dogma 2 comes out in March. I'm just going, please no.
We also have a Halo Infinite.
Oh,
Let's
yes.
That's
play
right.
During that.
When does
I am
Halo
super hyped
Infinite
for
come
that.
out?
Around the New Year too.
Is it?
December
Yeah.
8th. But I mean, I'm really only gonna play the.
It says November
multiplayer,
15th.
So. Maybe that's when the
Multiplayer comes out.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's because I want to play the multiplayer of that too, and really I want to play the campaign because that looks like a fun time. Jeez.
Yeah, I'm sure that I'll eventually play the campaign, especially if you guys want to play through it.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
for sure, without a doubt.
This is gonna be really good games
my
back to back to
gosh.
back.
Yeah, I picked the wrong time to go to school and fill out my schedule. My gosh.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Well,
I'm sure there'll
it's-
be other surprises too. I mean, probably nothing that we haven't like. I'm sure there'll be breakout other good games that come out that we don't even know about.
They'll say Silk Song comes out in February.
Oh my gosh!
imagine.
Silk Song's been in development for how long
It's
now?
been a long time.
Yeah, I'm right there with the anticipation of Silk Song. I've just gotten to where I just like don't even think about it anymore because it's been.
I mean, they
long.
showed it in E3. They did like whatever the Nintendo's thing is. Nintendo.
Yeah, they did that back in like
Treehouse?
2018 or 2019.
Yeah,
they played it for like hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you, Jay, because you're gonna know this probably better than I will, at least for sure. So okay, was Silk Song supposed to be a DLC?
It was initially.
Okay.
And then they were just like,
it just became
this
so
is
big.
too big.
Yeah,
that they said it's
that's
going to become its
exactly
own
it.
game. So okay, that's why.
So
okay.
that's one reason why it was announced a little bit earlier than they
right.
wanted to. Like they would have wanted to rather if they were making a sequel because they didn't plan for it to be a sequel initially.
Right.
And which I don't know why they wouldn't have like just been like, hey, let's make a sequel to this amazing game. But
yeah, I see. Okay.
I mean,
well,
they kind of got crazy. They obviously are very obsessive because they just got crazy with the DLC that they released for free. And
yeah,
in
it's
Hollow
insane.
Knight, just like so much of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I mean, Hollow Knight doesn't stick me as well as Dark Souls does. It's the 2D. For some reason, the 2D exploration just doesn't really hit me as hard as the 3D. But I mean, I'll undoubtedly play Silk Song as well. So hopefully that will hook me just as much as Dark Souls does. But
Yeah, I loved Hollow Knight, and I'm excited for Silk Song. Games are just great, man.
Too good, man. Too good.
If only I had more time.
Right?
Oh,
Seriously.
jeez.
Um, let's see. There's the new Kirby for Switch game, right? Coming at some point.
Yeah, I'm not super. It looks stupid easy, which I mean that's Kirby games for you, but
Oh, but that was
I
just
don't know.
like that's the, what is it called? The Forgotten Land. That's what it is. Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what it is.
I just that's true. It is a Kirby game, and generally they are pretty easy, so it is kind of leads to a bit of a bore. But man, I hope that they at least have a difficulty slider, maybe. But I don't know. I've always really enjoyed most of the Kirby games. I haven't played
I
all
mean,
of them, but I played a lot of them, and I usually have a pretty good
yeah,
time, even despite the difficulty.
yeah. For some reason, I liked like the 2D parts of it. I don't know. There's something about the 3D that kind of just throws me off. Even though I'm sure that's what a lot of people like about the new Kirby game is the fact that it is 3D. But for whatever reason, the fact that it's 2D and it's just stupid easy doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't bother. It's not that it bothers me that it's easy because sometimes I like very very easy games, but I
Sure.
don't know. I don't know. But I'd be willing to try it out though. Just the novelty, and it's been a while since like a Kirby like campaign game like that's come out, so
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I'd be down. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I probably said this before, but I'll say it again, and I'll probably say it in the future. The best Kirby game is Kirby and the Crystal Shards on
Yep.
64 because
Yep.
I don't understand how they don't think that that's not like the logical evolution of Kirby.
I don't
And it's
know
not
either.
even like that. It's just like this 2D, really simple side-scrolling
Yeah, like
thing, but the gameplay mechanics were so satisfying.
Yes.
yeah, like
And it didn't even need to be hard. It was just like you were
was
talking about. It's
fun.
like if the
Yeah.
game is fun, like difficulty doesn't matter. Like I just want to have fun with games,
right.
and so I kind of get what you're saying. It's like, yeah, I don't want to feel like I'm playing, literally like a child's game, like
You're just walking
the
through the
yeah,
whole
Well, it's
game.
like that
just
one
like I have no consequences for anything. But I
Right.
mean,
yeah.
that game, I don't remember it being difficult at all. But
There's
I
a little bit
remember-
of difficulty, but it's not that crazy.
But like one of the
Yeah.
extremes is like that Yoshi game, Yoshi Yarn,
Yarn,
whatever it was.
Epic Yarn
I don't
or
remember.
whatever.
Yeah, where like the easy mode of that game like literally plays itself, like basically plays itself, which is was
well,
not.
that's not playing the game.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah, well-
there's a limit where it becomes less of you're playing a game and more just like you're pressing buttons. I don't know. That's what it feels like for me.
Yeah, you're
but
just
that's
pushing
just me.
forward. I mean, there's Kirby's Epic Yarn, and that game like is as close to playing the game itself as you can get, right? You just push forward. It doesn't matter if you get hit. You can play through the whole game, and it's just
Yeah, but it was Yoshi. That's what it. Yoshi's Woolly World.
Whirly World, yeah. Like those.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So I think there has to be a balance. I think there was enough. Maybe we can say that's like a ratio, right? Like the mechanic in Kirby's in the Crystal Shards was so interesting that you only needed a little bit of difficulty on top of that to really make it an interesting game. Whereas if you don't have something that's interesting, maybe you need more engagement to, or maybe that mechanic builds the engagement, right? And you have to have engagement somehow. Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that they haven't done like it's just as I said, this is the logical evolution of Kirby. Why on earth have they not gone forward with this thing? Like this is perfect Kirby stuff.
Yeah.
Bring back the
Who
combo
knows?
powers. So
And that is what they're doing in this game, though, is it not? I thought that's what they were.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I saw the trailer and it's you just have the one power.
Yeah.
When you get it, you just have the one. But maybe, I mean, that would be an awesome thing to discover that they left out of the trailer and that's actually in the game. I would get it. If that
Yeah.
was in there, I'd get it.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, Kirby games they can be pretty hit or miss.
Mhm.
There's a Kirby game. This reminds me, there's a Kirby game on the DS. It was like a fighting arena one where you like fought stuff. It kind of reminds me of that one. There's that Zelda game. What was the Zelda game that we played, George, on the 3DS? It was the co-op only one.
Yes, with it was 3-player.
Yeah, it's a 3-player
it was like one of
Triforce
the
Heroes.
Triforce Heroes, that's what it was.
Yeah, so there's a Kirby game that's kind of like that on it's not quite the same. Triforce Heroes is a lot more fleshed out, but there is a Kirby one where you kind of fight like that. Man, Triforce Heroes, that was a cool game. Whole game built
Yeah,
on
and
co-op.
the Four Swords for GameCube.
Yeah,
What was
Four
that game?
Swords
Dude, my brothers
Adventures.
and I, we had so much fun with that. Oh man, Four Swords
Yeah.
Adventures, what was it called? Okay.
Four Swords Adventures, yeah.
Yeah, that was a ton of fun.
Yeah, that was super fun game.
Brings me back.
Yeah. Yeah, Breath of the Wild 2,
Oh,
man. I'm interested to see what
Breath
kind
of
of
the
game
Wild
Breath of the
2 is
Wild.
coming out.
Yeah, I'm interested to see
Yeah.
what kind of game that is, because that they're kind of like a step ahead of FromSoft in the we took our linear game or our generally linear game and we made it non-linear open world,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm interested to see if Breath of the Wild 2 is the same kind of open world, and if it is, how they're going to exactly go about that, and then what they're going to do after. Because I don't think they're going to make Breath of the Wild 3, but I think they will do something. I don't know. Maybe they will make Breath of the Wild 3. They're making Splatoon 3, and those games are like almost all the same.
Carbon copies.
Yeah, they're like real.
I've only
carbon
played
copies.
2. I never played the original one, and I mean, obviously 3's not out yet, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're good, but they're very similar to each other. So I don't know. Maybe they will do Breath of the Wild 3, but I'd be interested to see what they do after Breath of the Wild era, if they go back, or if they do some. Maybe they could do some kind of like Dark Souls 1 type of thing where it's like a good merger of linear and non-linear. So
hmm
I don't know.
yeah, I actually never had a thought about that till you mentioned it. Where do they go after Breath of the Wild 2? Like,
Yeah.
what's the next Zelda game? Could they?
That's what when I was playing Zelda 1, or when I was playing Breath of the Wild, that's the first thought I have. Is like, is this how do we go back from this? Like, can we go back from this?
Yeah, didn't they say that every Breath of the Wild or every Zelda from now on will be open world?
Did they say that? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, like
I mean, Zelda games have kind of been open world for a while. I mean, it's kind of different type, but I mean, they've all had the existing overworld map that
they've had
you
like
go
a hub
into.
area, like an open field area, but it's not really like open world. Really, it's
Well, I
they're
mean,
all,
Link to the even all the way back to Link to the Past though, there's like a village you can go to, you can talk to NPCs, you can
yeah,
complete
that's
little
true.
side quests there, you can buy items and find stuff that it has nothing to do with the main game. I mean,
That's
I mean,
true.
Link
That's
to
a
the
good point.
Past to me is like the very first I would call open world game that I ever played because it did have a world that you could actually have an impact on and find stuff that had nothing to do like with the actual main story.
That's
So
fair.
it just we don't think about it that way.
Right.
But
Yeah, I think
Yeah, and
generally
there's
when people talk about open world, they think of like if like the game's completion is like a meter, then a true open world is like you can go anywhere and start filling up that completion meter, and then like you can like finish the game through just doing anything you want in random orders, right? But but like classic Zelda games, even Link to the Past, have always been there's only an X like it's like here's the set of things you have to do, like here's the 3 things you have to do, and then like you have to do like them in that order, and then you could do the next 3 things, but you have to do them in generally like the same order. And there is an open world with that, but I guess there is an open world, but the game is non-linear, right? Like the game is
Mhm.
pretty linear. You always have to do the same dungeons in the same general order. I think there's like 1 or 2 dungeons you could do out of order.
yeah,
But
yeah,
and I
you
just
need
don't
an
think that
item.
I don't think that that's enough of a definition to take it out of that classification for me because I mean most open world games if they have a main storyline that main storyline is pretty linear and even if it deviates 2 or 3 ways it's still experienced in a linear fashion at some
right.
point. There's just a lot of other things. I define it as like a world that feels like it exists there without you and that you can have an impact on.
Right. That would be more like an
And
immersive world than an open world per se.
yeah, and I felt like that like I said with Link to the Past, I felt like it was this world that it existed, didn't care about me really if I existed or not, but
Right.
also I could go and find things and talk to people and do stuff. That was like, I remember just being like, what? There's like characters in all these houses, and like there's things I can do in here. That's like, how did they think of this? This isn't
Right.
even. I'm not even in the dungeon right now. Like,
There's stuff
So-
outside of the. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Link to the Past was an amazing
Very,
experience.
very good game. Very good game. Yeah. Well, the
Let
first.
me
I mean,
let me
go
read
ahead,
real
George.
quick. There's this
Yeah.
quote from Agio Numa,
Eiji Aonuma,
the director. So I guess he never said that every game going forward will be open world, but this is what he said. He said, and I'm reading from GameByte, some
Okay.
article, an article by Mel Hawthorne. Anyways, a quote. She puts a quote in here, and it says, for me, especially just in terms of the Zelda series, the incredible freedom that this game offers you and how well that's been received, to me, it means that level of freedom is something that needs to be maintained in Zelda games going forward. My eyes have been open to how important that is. Going forward, I think we would definitely consider that way of thinking when we create something in the future.
I see.
So
So it sounds like he's talking about the non-linear.
non-linear approach, yeah.
Right.
Because I mean, also one of the better, I don't know if it's technically open world or not, but Link Between Worlds, the way
Right.
they and I know we've talked about it in the podcast in reference to something else, but the way they did that there was,
Yeah, that's very non-linear, but
and you
I
could
wouldn't
go buy
necess-
whatever item you want,
right.
and yeah, it's maybe not necessarily be
It's
open
not
world
quite
per
open
se.
world. I mean, it is and it isn't, not in the traditional sense at least.
Well, that's
It's
what I'm
also
saying
not
is,
like a
like,
3D
the way
game.
that we've thought about that kind of world is kind of been taken over by clones of other games that have just been about like, hey, you can go anywhere and craft anything and
Right.
do whatever you want, and the real game doesn't matter. Whereas, like, I feel like older games like Link to the Past would have had these things had they been a thing, but they weren't
Right.
at that point. So yeah, what you're saying is, like, in an open world game, you can go anywhere and do whatever you want, and be progressing towards something, even if it's not the thing. It's like, oh, I want to do this and right in this game right now, so I'm gonna just concentrate on this, and you will get progress, even though it has nothing to do with the main storyline, maybe. And yeah, like Link to the Past, there's not a lot of, like, you can't just be like, I'm gonna be, a salesperson this time and like collect a bunch of stuff and sell stuff and whatever, open up a shop, but you can go and affect the world in some
Right.
point.
Yeah. It is kind of a different. It's kind of a difficult thing to pin down exactly because A Link Between Worlds has a big open world that you can explore, right? So it's kind of tricky.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where games go, man.
Yeah,
We'll
I'm
see what they do.
Very excited this year, the end of this year and upcoming next year, and then hopefully with Dragon's Dogma 2 getting announced soon. Fingers crossed, everyone. We'll have to see.
And Pikmin 4.
And Pikmin 4.
That's what I'm waiting for, dude.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever gonna happen, George. At this point,
Yeah.
that ship has sailed. But
they released. I actually haven't downloaded it yet, but they released like a Pokemon Go Pikmin
yes.
game with Niantic. So it gives me hope that Nintendo still has their eyes on that series.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
I hope
We'll
so.
see what happens.
All right. Well, with that being said, I'm looking very much forward to games this upcoming year, and hopefully everyone else is as well. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Our new, I guess we'll say, season 2 is starting now with our 3-man roster of the game club. So hopefully we will see you all there, and we'll have some exciting games. Our first game coming up, I guess we haven't announced what it was the last discussion, right?
We maybe, I don't remember.
I don't
to be
remember,
honest.
but just in case, the episode we have coming up, the game we are playing in the next 2 weeks, is going to be Cave Story Plus. That was selected by moi. And so if you're interested in checking out the conversation in detail, you are welcome to play it along with us. But other than that, thank you, gentlemen, for joining, and thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we will see you all next time.